My name is Emily Marrier.
My name is Elaine Franta.
My name is Lauren Jurek. The title of our performance is Marion Anderson, the Voice That Challenged Equal Rights. In 1939, the United States was very segregated. Blacks couldn't ride the same bus as whites. In some places, they couldn't even be in the same room. The Daughters of the American Revolution, also known as the DAR, believed in this rule. They showed that they were a segregated place. That's when they denied Marion Anderson's right for a concert at the Constitution Hall. Marion Anderson tried to sing at many places, but she was rejected because of her race. Marion Anderson had the right to sing anywhere, and it was the Daughters of the American Revolution's responsibility to let anyone sing at their Constitution Hall.
One specific performance at the Lincoln Memorial impacted African Americans everywhere, and they became confident enough to stand up for their rights.
Marion's father supported her throughout her early career, and Marion's father died when she was 12 years old.
After her father died, Marion went to Stanton Elementary School for 8 grades, but her family didn't have enough money to send her to high school. She grew up singing in church choirs and kept singing in junior and senior choirs. The church members really wanted Marion to go to a professional music school or take voice lessons, so the church promised to guarantee tuition to a music school.
I, Marion Anderson, went to pick up an application for the music school I wanted to go to. I got in line with the rest of the girls, but when it was my turn to pick up an application, the lady looked over my head and moved on to the next person, so I was the only one left in line. What do you want? I'm here to pick up an application. We do not take color. I will never forget that day, because it was my right to get into that school, and it was their responsibility to at least give me an application. Marion was touring through Europe to get her name known. It was easier for an African American to become famous in another country that didn't have as much racial discrimination. Sol Harak was a big part in Marion's career. He was her manager from 1935 to the end of her career. He arranged Marion's tours and performances. He had a vast influence on the American singing and performing culture. I am so tired. I just got back from my tour in Europe and was welcomed to sing at the White House from First Lady and President Roosevelt. I recently performed at concerts throughout the U.S. I am very excited for a particular performance at the U.S. Constitution Hall. Marion, we have a problem. What is it? The Constitution Hall has a white-only policy and therefore denied your concert. What? What about my rights? This is completely and utterly wrong. It is their responsibility to let me perform there, black or white. Sometimes, racial prejudice is like a hair across your cheek. You can't see it, you can't find it with your fingers, but you keep brushing it, because the feel of it is just irritating.
This is outrageous. As a member of the Daughters of the American Revolution, I am completely against the idea of refusing the Constitution Hall to an amazing artist. I, Eleanor Roosevelt, made the decision to resign from the DAR. I even wrote a letter explaining my resignation to Mrs. Henry M. Robert Jr. My dear Mrs. Henry M. Robert Jr., I am afraid that I have never been a very useful member of your Daughters of the American Revolution, so I know it will make very little difference to you whether I resign or whether I continue to be a member of your organization. However, I am in complete disagreement with the attitude taken in refusing the Constitution Hall to a great artist. You have set an example which seems to me unfortunate, and I feel obliged to send you in my resignation. You had an opportunity to start in an enlightened way, and it seems to me that your organization has failed. I realize that many people will not agree with me, but feeling as I do, this is the only proper procedure to follow. The same day, I sent a telegram to the officer of the Marion Anderson Citizens Committee, explaining my disappointment. On February 27th, I decided to make my decision public. I wrote a column in the My Day newspaper, explaining my resignation. I did not mention Marion Anderson's name, or the name of the organization I was resigning from. I took up the responsibility to make sure Marion Anderson was recognized. On April 9th, 1939, Marion Anderson stood at the Lincoln Memorial in front of 75,000 people, both young and old. She was introduced by Harold Ice.
Miss Anderson, distinguished guests, ladies and gentlemen, in this great auditorium under the sky, all of us are free. When God gave us this wonderful outdoors, the sun, the moon, and the stars, he made no distinction of race or creed or color. Who, if it not been for the great mind of Jefferson, who, if it not been for the great heart of Lincoln, would not be able to stand among us today as a free individual in a free land. And so it is fitting that Marion Anderson should raise her voice in tribute to the noble Lincoln who mankind will ever honor. We are very grateful to Miss Marion Anderson, for coming here to sing to us today. My country, 'tis of thee, sweet land of liberty, of thee I sing. Then when my fathers died, land of the pilgrim's pride, from every mountainside, let freedom ring.
As a result of her breathtaking performance, the Daughters of the American Revolution regretted their decision to deny her. Marion Anderson performed at the Constitution Hall on various occasions, from 1942 to 1992, after her performance at the Lincoln Memorial. The Daughters of the American Revolution got rid of their white-only policy. I was proud of Marion, and we became very good friends. After Marion's performance, she went to sing at military bases and hospitals across the country during World War II. She gave performances to help aid wartime conditions. Today, African Americans have a big role in music.
Marion Anderson's concert made history. She was on the front page of the newspapers across the country. Today, her concert is viewed as an early struggle for equal rights. After World War II, Marion continued to tour in the United States. Marion performed as a soloist with many of the nation's orchestras and became very popular over radio and television. I had always wanted to sing opera, but by the time I was 53, I had nearly forgotten my dream. When you stop having dreams and ideas, well, you might as well stop altogether. In 1955, I sang the role of the sorceress Ulrica in A Masked Ball. When the curtains opened, everyone in the auditorium stood up and started clapping for me, 5 minutes before I even performed. This really meant something to me, that even though I was colored, they appreciated me for my voice. When I sing, I don't want them to see that my face is black. I don't want them to see that my face is white. I want them to see my soul, and that is colorless.